People always come in and they're like, "Hey, can I tour? I'm thinking about growing." And we're like, "Yeah, come on."
Sure.
And
Learn
then
how
after
hard
they're
it is.
done, I'm like, "Well, good luck out there, buddy. Have fun."
You're crushing dreams.
You're gonna do a lot of crying, but maybe you'll make it. If you do, I wish you the best of
Oh,
luck,
you're
man.
crushing dreams, but it's true. At least
is
you're
true.
not being dishonest.
Yeah,
about
we don't
it.
sugarcoat it. I
Don't
mean,
sugarcoat it.
it's hard, but if you push through and you just have to survive. That's what I would say. You have to survive.
Funny, we say that all the time.
Surviving is the biggest thing you can do.
Totally.
Because prospering will come later, but you have to survive in the moment.
Welcome back to another episode of the Puff and Prosper podcast. I have a very good one today. A young entrepreneur that's actually in the industry operating has joined me. Drove 5 hours to be here.
Yeah.
So we're going to just skip all the fluff and dive into it. As always, we are here loud and proud from Soundset Studios in Austin, Texas. Today, I have Zach Gauger.
There you go. You
Got it right.
You got it. That's all I can hear, bro.
It's nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I'm glad you had me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm super excited about it. So
Yeah, I mean, I when you jumped up and said you were going to do the 5 hour drive, I was like, I'll let you do it.
yeah,
You know,
well, I mean, it's not that far.
Better you than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Texas. It can't be that far.
Yeah.
10 hours is far here.
Yes. Even 10. I've done the 10 hours. 10 hours is not
Exactly.
bad. Well, dude, yeah. So you're coming to me from where? Where are you guys located?
We're from Lubbock, Texas, and I run Caprock Family Farms with my family, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And so what I do is basically I'm head of sales and product development. So I'm in charge of our sales team. We have about to have 3 salesmen. And so I'm basically in charge of them, and I also go out and do sales myself. And I also am in charge of making new products. So like getting the right packaging, labeling, basically every in and out of the product I've touched and had a part of. So that's pretty much what I do there.
Right on. So your family's involved?
Yeah. So we actually got started. It was actually my dad's idea to get started. So in 2018, the 2018 Farm Bill got passed, and we were allowed to grow hemp. And so my dad came to us, and he goes, "Well, let's grow hemp outside." Because we've been farming for 30 years, our family has, outside in West Texas. And so we've farmed 15,000 acres at a time. That's as big as we've gotten. We've also farmed 500 acres at a time. And
That's
now
cool.
we're sitting around 6,000. But in 2018, he came to us and was like, "We're going to grow hemp, and I need you boys to do this with me." And my mom had just retired from teaching, so it was the perfect time to start everything. And so we started with CBD oil, and then we grew it outside as well. But in West Texas, that's not a very good idea. I don't know if you've ever been there, but
Anywhere in Texas, it's really hard to do
the sand blows really
Yeah.
bad in West Texas. So whenever we harvested it was basically a mud ball, and we could not use it. And on top of that, it failed its potency test. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because that made our move towards indoor a lot easier. So
you had the farming background though already?
Yeah.
What about you? Like you and your brother, right, are
So we
kind of tasked with this?
Yes. So my brother's actually a grower, but like we've been farming with my dad ever since we were basically born. Like he always said like his punishments were make him go hoe weeds outside for a day, and they would drop us off and leave us in like 100-degree heat with a cooler of water and say hoe this whole field, and then they come pick us back up at night. But we've been farming with him ever since I can remember. And whenever I dropped out of college, I went and farmed for him full time. So I got the hang of it, and like I had the love for farming that he does. And so whenever we grew hemp, it kind of got my brother into it. And so making that move indoors was really challenging, but
Crucial.
yes, it was very crucial.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to grow outside for flower in the Lubbock area on the Caprock. So.
Dude, even most of Texas, honestly, like our spot is, like I said, 20 minutes away from here, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
So, and we have a different process. We're going for a craft. I mean, sometimes we'll we'll do some veg outside,
Mm-hmm.
and then throw it inside. We'll do like full indoor
Yeah.
stuff like that. People can say what they want about that, but it's difficult here.
It is
And
difficult.
the whole point is that we get through these experiments and these lessons learned, and to see how things react and how things do, even down to pests and all this stuff is different
yeah.
across the state. It's a huge place.
It is. We don't have a lot of bugs where we live because it's so
Wow.
dry.
Lucky
like
you.
it doesn't rain where we live, so
Lucky
we
you.
barely have any bugs,
Well,
especially indoors.
Yeah, so we're basically, we put a place up in a pasture, basically.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we got to be very sealed off. But we've had great success. We won, plenty of awards. That speaks for itself. But yeah, the growing in Texas, man, I think people rushed into it. Some people had other expectations of how it's going to be, and it's just definitely, it's not easy. That's for sure. So.
Well, the trials and tribulations you go through, they're not cheap either. Like,
No.
they're not cheap. So the mistakes you make are huge mistakes. But
Huge.
Like we've made plenty, especially moving indoors. Like we didn't harvest a crop until our fourth crop. And so our first two were just like we had some problems and we didn't know how to grow indoors. And then our third one wasn't the quality that we wanted, so we just destroyed it.
Right
and
on.
then our fourth one, finally, we got a good crop and it looked fantastic. And like we entered some awards and stuff like that as well. But like the trials and tribulations you go through, like that's something that you can't teach anybody.
No.
They have to go through it themselves.
Dude, and people also, like, people will talk like a little bit of shit on me, sometimes, or not me specifically, but us in the industry, especially here in Texas, because it's like, oh, you can't do this, or not only that, but like, you didn't earn your stripes, it's always been legal or whatever, and so I totally don't agree with that, because we are pioneering and innovating and going through all of this stuff. Like you said, fourth crop was the only one that was good. Like, that is people don't see that. We always say this, people don't see the 110 steps that it takes to get you flour in a jar of an eighth on the shelf.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I mean,
it's
like
a
nobody
lot.
teaches you how to do this either.
Exactly.
You got to figure it out yourself.
Yes.
Like,
There's no cannabis college.
Exactly, exactly. So we learn from YouTube University. That's what we say.
Totally.
So
Trial and error too.
exactly
Like,
that.
and it's cool because we come and encounter with people. I've encountered a ton of people in this industry, and they've started with their brands or whatever, and they want to grow, and they have just a completely misguided expectation on what they're getting into.
Yeah.
And that's just funny to hear that you guys are just taking it in stride and rolling with it and learning from it. And I think we can see that it bleeds through to like what I know of you guys and what I've seen on the surface level.
Well, I appreciate that.
But how many years now has it been?
So we started in 2020, and we've been growing in our facility now for 2 years.
Okay.
So we've been growing for 3 years. No, we've been growing for 4 years, but we've been a company for 3 years. So like we grew outside, and that was before Caprock Family Farms was the thing. We had a partner that prior that like didn't work out, so we just decided let's just keep it, the four of us, the family, right? And like we've always done things as a family, and like a lot of farmers, if a farmer is watching this right now, they'll know that like their family is their backbone, especially like all farmers around the United States, they rely on their family.
Immediate family.
And like we always make this joke, a farmer has kids for free labor. But it's so true because like that farm is the whole family's livelihood. So everybody needs to help out to make it survive. And that's kind of what we're doing at Caprock. So
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love that with this industry obviously having the stigma that it is, that you guys kind of bring that to it. That's a cool aspect of that as well.
And like where we're from, so Lubbock, it's one of the most conservative parts of Texas, right?
Totally.
And there's a church on every block, every corner. So like when we first started, we got a lot of flack for it. And that was our main thing, is like we try to push, like we're farmers. We're like at our soul, we're farmers. Like we grew cotton, peanuts. So I like to say like we grow, heal, and medicate America. So, like that's just one of the things where that's kind of something special that we bring to the table, because that we know of. We know a lot of people in the industry, and we're the only family that has come from an agricultural background that's doing this.
Yeah, totally.
And we know how to do things on a huge commercial scale, and we know how to scale growing crops. So it was just another thing that it we had to tweak a little things, but we knew the main reason. So yeah.
Well, you bring up a good point, because we mentioned this, we harp on this a lot. Like the guys that I have and that we're involved with, right? Shout out to FK, of course, Jeremy Greens, Uncle G, man. He's the one that makes it all happen. But I mean, we got 5 core guys that we can trust. And, you know, when we've let others in that we didn't vet all the way, there was money and setbacks, you know, spent. But yeah, your family and your immediate people on your team in this industry is so important.
It is
it's
really
so important.
Because you can't do everything yourself.
You can't do everything yourself. But I do want to ask you, right? Family business.
Yes.
What's the dynamic and the culture like? Is it always pretty? Or you know, how are you guys with that?
It's mostly pretty. Like, I mean, like if everybody has bickerings in their family,
sure.
you know, we try as much as we can to keep it separate. But sometimes, you know, like somebody will say something and you're like pissed at them for something else, you know. But it's mostly good. Like we do a really good job, and like we've always been a close family, so it's kind of natural. But like what's great about it is like seeing your family every day, you know.
Of course.
And so like our big thing is like, so we're a family company, so our slogan is "Welcome to the family," and so like all of our customers are our family members, and like. I'm sure if you go to talk to any of them, they'll say the same thing. Like, we treat them like family, and like if we're ever, like the other day we gave one of our customers like our football tickets to the Tech game.
Right
so, and like it was one of those, like that's what we try to do is treat everybody like a family, and that's how we've always been. So
I could tell. I mean, even from just like the outside looking in, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. But like I could tell you guys have a serious like culture there, or at least like it looks like you do.
Yeah,
even when
that's what we're trying to do.
Right. I mean, from your customers and your clientele to even like the folks that I see working on the page day in and day out. And that was really one of the big reasons why I wanted to get you on here and start connect with you, because I know you guys are going to win long term because of that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, definitely. So I wanted to talk about that too. Does that just come from you guys being, you know, family and this not being your first rodeo, and you know how to like, you guys just love working with people? Like, how does that work? Because I know in this industry, it's hard to find good help because people have ill intentions or misguided expectations on what it's going to be.
Yeah, well, we vet everybody that we hire very thoroughly. We've made the mistake that you have of not vetting people, and it bites you in the butt, you know? Yeah. It is quite an expensive mistake. But, like, it's one of those things, like, when we hire somebody, we always ask this question. It's very cultish, but it's not meant to be. We always say, like, are you willing to drink our Kool-Aid, you know? And,
the first part of culture is cult. So
exactly. But, okay. Like, but it's one of those things where we want them, like our employees and the people that we work with and, like, our customers, we want them to be as prideful in what we're doing as we are. And so that's a big thing of, like the welcome to the family thing. Yeah. Like, whenever we do business or we hire somebody, they're a part of our family now. Yeah. And so... it's like, that's just kind of how we've set it up. And like the culture thing is huge for us because like if you're happy at work, you know, you'll be more productive. And like if you're happy with doing business with us, then the relationship will be better, you know. And so like we've always worked on like our family relationships very like with a lot of energy. Like it's always all in. So that's how we do with everybody else. And it's one of those things where we respect that or we expect that in return whenever we give that out. And so that's one of those things where the drinking the Kool-Aid comes into it. So.
Well, it's infectious. Like as someone who hasn't even sipped or seen your Kool-Aid, just like I said, connecting with you guys on Instagram and stuff. And a lot of what I do with this show is just bringing on people like you. You know, one, I think it's great because you're just a young man. You're an entrepreneur. You know, family business. All these things are great, especially, you know, on paper, right? Yeah. And so I think that's a cool light to shed on you with this industry being like what it is and stigmatized and stuff like that. But I wanted to, you know, with what I do in this show is kind of highlight people like yourself and your family that are just like actually executing.
Yeah. It's hard to execute.
Yeah.
Like you can think all these thoughts and executing is the hard part.
Everybody loves this.
Yeah.
Everybody has ideas, especially stoners, right? But
yeah, they always have ideas, but they forget them.
Yeah, no, I do. I just want to highlight that. You know, I definitely was drawn to y'all because of kind of the optics that you've already put out, even in just the 2 years that you're able to do.
Well, that's awesome. It's working.
It's working.
Finally.
Exactly. And I want this industry to win. And that's what's cool is just it really, people don't realize there's going to be so much. There already is so much business out there to do, partnerships to make, relationships to cultivate. But like, you know, this industry is going to be so big, even when it goes medical, recreational, whatever the heck will happen to us here over time. The hemp thing has already been an explosion. And I just want the good, genuine people to win, not so much, you know, the other side, the dark side, right?
Exactly.
So,
same here. Like having the small, I could say small people, but a Texas-owned company win is the most important thing to us.
Totally.
So if you're a Texas company, we always wish you luck, and we'll try to help you out along the way. But like we want Texas companies to win because like we're Texans at heart. So and Texans love Texans. So that's one of those things where when it does go legal eventually, that we're gonna have to fight people that are out of staters trying to come in, and you all have to band together and move forward together to keep them out. I mean, like they can come on, but as long as we're all collective, then I think that's a good thing. Totally,
dude. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly how we feel about all of this too. So, and we're always very open too on our side for the knowledge base, access to genetics. Like if you want to know what lights we use and all this other stuff, like we're not afraid to tell you because of what we just said. Execution is so hard. It is right. Hard. So you can take all of my stuff. I'll give it to you. But you still got to do it. You still got to go 4 crops deep and not make a dime. Exactly. You know, and not even have product to show for it. So, that's definitely something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
but
that's something we do. Like when we give tours, there'll be some, like in Lubbock, we're the only indoor hemp grow in the state, or like around us.
Right.
I think there's a 250-mile radius around Lubbock that there's no one else but us. And so people always come in and they're like, "Hey, can I tour? I'm thinking about growing." And we're like, "Yeah, come on."
Sure.
And
learn how hard it is.
Done, I'm like, "Well, good luck out there, buddy. Have fun."
You're crushing dreams.
You're gonna do a lot of crying, but maybe you'll make it. If you do, I wish you the best.
Oh, you're crushing dreams, but it's true. At least you're not being dishonest.
Yeah, we don't sugarcoat it. I mean, it's hard, but if you push through and you just have to survive. That's what I always say. You have to survive.
Funny, we say that all the time.
Surviving is the biggest thing you can do.
Yeah. Totally.
Because prospering will come later, but you have to survive in the moment.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We talked about your culture. I definitely want to talk about your thoughts on the industry, right? So, I mean, you come from agriculture, you come from farming and stuff, family business, but you know, do you use it? Do you use cannabis? Do you smoke? Is it CBD only? Like, what's your feel?
I use a little bit of everything. So CBD, THC, HHC. Right I also use hemp oil. I know that's barely part of the industry, but it's not a part of the cannabinoid industry. But I use hemp oil, so basically everything. Smoke, eat edibles.
Right on.
Yeah, but I really don't have any ailments I need to be fixed, but I just use it for fun and to feel better.
Well, that's cool. Hey, well, Zach Dogger is not a poser, ladies and gentlemen. We just captured it right there. There you go. So I was curious, but what's your thoughts on like the industry at large? You know, what do you think we can expect going forward as growers in this conservative market as it's changing? Because we have all these things. We have Delta-9 by weight. We have THCA popping up. We have all these things. Where do you think that we're going to end up?
So I'll go back to the beginning of the start of the industry because it's kind of relevant going in the timeline up until now to expect the future. So when we started, we were doing CBD oil, and this was in 2019. So in 2019, CBD oil, we were getting dirty looks, right? They're like, "Oh my God, CBD is marijuana." And you're like, "No, it's not." And then now, like CBD is like in everyone's vocabulary.
Definitely.
And especially around us, like CBD's in almost every grocery store. It's almost in every vitamin shop,
corner store,
chiropractor, doctor's office, you know, it's everywhere. And so, and that was only, 3-4 years ago. And so now, hang on, let's go back to 2020. So in 2020, D8 started to kind of go crazy. And that was like the first THC that happened, right? And like we stayed away from it for a little bit, and then we were like, well, like it's not that bad. Let's do it, right? And so we started doing that, and then we got more flack for it, right? Because it's THC and it's the devil's lettuce, but it still comes from the hemp plant. And so, and then about a year later, THCA came along, and THCA has been a whole different journey. And like we do THCA now as well, and we're like, how is this even? Like, how are you able to even sell this stuff?
It's almost too good to be true. Yeah,
exactly. And so, and then like the D9 by volume, like that was a huge thing in our edibles.
The industry changes so fast. Like that's the thing, especially in my experience. Not only do we have the grow, but like I work with several other brands in the industry, and the thing is about it is just watching the market, because you'll wake up and D8 will be here, so all your CBD stuff is on sale. You can't even pay people to take it.
Exactly.
Then D9 by weight comes up, so now your D8 goes in the CBD bucket. You can't pay people to take that from your store. You're giving it away for free.
Exactly.
Now D9's like, whatever D9. I want THCA. I want the real deal, right? I want the to smoke the flower and all this stuff. And so it's just crazy how it changes so fast. It's so fast paced.
It is. I mean, like this year has been the craziest year so far.
Yeah.
Like there's been about 3 changes this year. Like we had D8 at the beginning of the year, and then that went away, and then we had to move to THCA, and we infused it, and then now the infused has gone away, and it has to be grown, and you're like, what is going on, you know? And it's hard to keep up, but you have to be able to keep up with it.
So what
like
do you
I said,
think,
to survive.
What do you think the government eventually will do here? Do you think they're just going to keep letting hemp get big and then eventually like maybe like ban it and just go the other way? Or do you think that we're going to get some sort of like rec program slowly? Or
I don't think that they could really go backwards. I think the next step is medical or legalization. I think that's the only way to make it safe, because over the next year or two, there's going to be all of these synthesized compounds or synthetic compounds of THC that are coming out that some might be harmful, like THCA or THCO was very harmful for you. And like there were studies done in the 60s where they had it on dogs, and like the dogs would die. And it's like, holy crap. And so it was good that they banned that, but like the next step is making it clean. So like and it also takes people off the street buying stuff with fentanyl in it. And so it keeps people from overdosing on fentanyl, because most fentanyl deaths are from marijuana. And so that's just one of those things that the only step I think they have is going forward. And it'll be at a federal level before it's state level. I wish it would have been the other way around, but I think that it'll go federally. I think that the federal law will dictate it before the state law does.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my conspiracy is that they did some of this on purpose. There was a blind eye turned. There was a law written a certain way. It's black and white. It's open for interpretation. I think that what I'm seeing in the industry is if you're doing things by the book and you're doing things the right way and you have an attorney, you're probably going to be okay for a while. If you're kind of doing it fly by night, black market, they're coming for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think to that point that you said too, like my thing about Texas, and I say this to a lot of people that I sit across from that are like super conservative, right? Or just totally closed-minded. And I say this, it's like, obviously, you know, conservatives love to talk about the border, right? And so whether you believe in all that stuff or not, how you feel about it is irrelevant. We definitely have an issue down there, and we will always have an issue with people and drugs and other things. So if you had a legal opportunity to go buy something at a local store that you knew the bud tender and you knew the grower and you knew exactly the chain of custody and that it was clean and everything, versus buying from the street, what would you take? And if you can take even 30, 40% away from the black market, even 10% away from the black market, why would you not do that?
Yeah. I kind of agree with the conspiracy theory. There are a lot of things that are going on in Austin and DC that are happening that you're like, really? But I'm not going to go too deep into the politics here. But like we have a couple of lobbyists that lobby for us, and we hear all these things that are going on, and it is a little discouraging, but they always remind us that we're doing it the right way, and that's what's important. Because if you're doing it the right way, it'll be easier when it's legalized for you as a business, because you have all of this paperwork that shows that you've been doing it this way for this many years, and you've been doing it the correct way. And I think that will pay off in the long run. When legalization or medical comes, I think that'll help out a lot. And I will say our lawyer, she's gotten an earful of everything that we do. We're like, hey, can we do this? And she's like, how do you even figure this out? And because she's not a hemp or cannabis lawyer. We're her only client that does this. And so she's always like, how do you figure this out? And we're like, well, our friends told us this, you know? And so we wanted to ask you. And she's like, well, they're right. But dude, yeah, I can't believe that's that hilarious.
You can do this. So my family, my father was in law enforcement for forever. Mm-hmm. And so he always used to tell me this old adage, you know, the old gray-haired man telling you his stories. He always used to say, you know, the funny thing about like jail or prison is that everybody in there is just thinking about how to skirt the system or the laws when they get out, and they just have a place to get better and better at it. Yeah. And I was like, it's funny because that's kind of the way that this industry is. Because it's like the longer that we have to abide by certain things, the more and more we can dig and look and see how we can get around things, where we can make money. And the most money is made when you're pushing a lot of boundaries. And it's funny. That plays into my conspiracy because I think there's a lot to be learned about the market at large across the U.S. Like as states are coming on, some states are an absolute cluster, and other states, you know, seemingly have great opening months and stuff like that, decent programs. Yeah. But nobody's done it, I think, very well yet. Yeah. Perfect.
Oklahoma is a very bad example of that.
100%. And that's another border that we have, you know, and it's like.
That's a very bad example of legalization. Yeah. Or technically it's not legal, but medically it's easy to get. But medically it's a very bad example. But like we always look at Oregon. Oregon does it very well compared to California. I think California has better stuff, but Oregon, the structure of legalization in Oregon is done very well. And we were actually just up there, so we were able to talk to some businesses out there. And they were explaining like they love how all the laws there are written for their state. And I think hopefully that Texas looks, whenever that becomes the case, that they look towards one of the states that are doing it well and not our neighbors, because Oklahoma and New Mexico aren't doing very good at it. But I will say New Mexico's a little better than Oklahoma, but they're not doing very well at it. But going back to what you're saying about the skirting the line, I think that is very correct. And as long as you as long as you're leaning the right way on top of the line, then you're good to go. But with that, I don't know if you felt like this as well, but we felt like we've kind of become lawyers trying to do this because you have to figure out, there's not, like, none of the state agencies help you out with anything. So you have to figure it out on your own.
And which ones would, if they would, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
exactly. Like the TDA and dishes, they're all understaffed, so they can't come and help you out. And like if you have questions, there aren't people that are trained to answer you. So it's one of those things where you have to figure it out on your own. And I feel like I'm a lawyer now. So.
Yeah, well that's good. No, yeah, this is not professional legal advice.
Exactly.
But so do you think they'll eventually outlaw hemp and cannabis? You think or hemp and CBD for the cannabis side? Do you think like there's going to be a happy medium?
I don't think that they will. I think what they might do is they might separate biomass and growing for flower. Yeah. I think that may be what it is. I don't think that they'll outlaw either of them, but they'll define it a little better. And like being from a farm family, like the biomass side, we understand very easily because we've been doing it for 30 years. So like the way that that's structured and everything like that, so all of hemp is an ag commodity, but it shouldn't be. It should just be the biomass. Right. And that's something that they'll have to define more whenever they update the regulation and law. But I don't think that they'll outlaw it. I think that they'll group hemp flower with cannabis flower eventually. That's what I think that they'll do, and they'll separate hemp for biomass, like because it's the same plant, but you're not using it for flower. And then ruderalis as well over there for fiber. But I think I think that's what they'll do. So yeah, just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Zach and I's opinion is only worth so much. Exactly. So if you have an opinion of your own, leave it in the comments. God knows we need as much engagement and help on these platforms as we can get. Best buds. Let's talk about best buds, because
That's our podcast.
it's the coolest thing to see people doing their own content, their own thing, finding, their own audience. Like you said, like just kind of cutting loose a little bit and letting people know who they're doing business with is like super important in this day and age. And I think that's like naturally where I think you guys would end up because of your youth and stuff, but it's a great move. So tell us more about the Best Buds podcast.
Yeah, so that's a little bit why we created it. So like it was never like nothing we ever do is for monetary value or monetization, nothing, right? And like you can't get it anyway, but the main reason we do our content is that like our Instagram, YouTube, our Best Buds is to show people who we are. Like at the beginning, like we're trying to sell a culture and a brand, and we're a part of that culture. So I think that having like our podcast is the biggest thing that we've done so far, and having that has helped out a lot. And like you've watched it, so it has actually brought a lot of business towards us, and recognition is the big thing.
Definitely.
Because they can see who you are by the way that we structure our podcast. So like our podcast is candid. We don't really script anything. We have a couple points that keep us in check so we don't veer too far off, because we're all ADHD, so it's just bow, 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 bow off the walls. But that was the main thing. It's just like entertainment and getting to know us. Like we'll talk about some occasional, like if there's an update in the law or like if there was a session, we might talk about it a little bit. But mainly it's entertainment. And like we'll talk a little bit every episode about the plant or our business or our employees or like something that's related to, the industry. But it's very rarely that we talk the whole episode about that. But it's mainly, and we kind of do it like you do as well, like try to get recognition out for our customers. So like sometimes we'll have our customers on and they'll get to talk about it, and they'll get to talk about like their work and how they balance their life with being like a manager of a smoke shop and all this other stuff and what people think. But that's something like I love doing it, and like so do my parents and everybody that we work with. They're like, "Hey, am I going to be on the podcast this week?" But like that's the main reason that we do it, is for entertainment and getting to know us.
Yeah, it builds community around you guys and the brand, and that's like one of the most powerful things right now. And in a space in an industry where you're limited on the things you can do and to reach people and to put a message out there. It's super important. And a lot of times I've had to go to businesses and sell them on the idea of like, you need to take time to do some sort of like content and outreach. And the value is because it's like when you guys do a podcast episode and you burn an hour or 2 hours or whatever, right? It's a permanent thing on the internet. So like your community and your clients and your retailers and stuff, if they want a dose of Zach and Brett and the whole family, right? Like they can go there and then get that interaction and learn something too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, it's super cool to see you guys just take the initiative and do that. So obviously,
it's just something extra. Like it's something that like you have to have it, and you don't
free
have to,
value.
Exactly. And like if you don't have time to introduce yourself, you say, "Hey, go watch the podcast." Then you'll get to know me, and like because like you just are able to be yourself, especially on a podcast where there's nobody around. You can be yourself, and that's what people like. Like everybody loves when people are themselves.
Totally.
Because it's your basic human instinct. You want to talk to real people, and you want to be a part of a community, and whether that be a religious community, a activity-based community, or like the place you live community. It's always something like that.
Definitely. So we've now done this whole episode. We should talk about the products. Where can people find Caprock?
So we have an e-commerce website.
Okay.
CaprockFamilyFarms.com. But mainly we deal with wholesale and white label. So we're just now getting ramped up with white labeling. So we're also a manufacturer. So like we do gummies and we do bulk flower and a bunch of other stuff. So like CBD oil, white label, topicals, body butters, cereal bars. We just got those in. So,
Wild.
But that's something that we do that we just started to do. But our main thing is wholesale. So we're in over 100 stores all over the state of Texas.
Cool.
And so like almost every city you go to, we're at least in one store in every city. So, and it's taken a long time to get to that point.
For sure.
And a lot of gas and sleeping in hotels, but we got to that point, and we kind of decided it's time for us to take on white labeling.
Yeah.
And so, with our recent award of best CBD oil in Texas, we decided like people are always starting CBD brands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always. From all over the nation, and so that award kind of helps us get to that point of, hey, if you want the best oil in Texas, we could white label for you and help your brand out. And so that's kind of a little bit of what we're getting into now. So
Totally, dude.
yeah, but
What's the overall goal? What would you guys like to see within the coming years? You know, you want to completely take it over?
I would love to do that. I don't think that it's realistic, but I would love to do that. But I think it's just capturing enough people to where we could survive until cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the main goal, because like ever since we started, that's been our goal, is cannabis and legalization, and survive until that happens, you know, and getting your name out there, especially in Lubbock. Like I said earlier, there's no competition with us, like no growers. So it'd be one of those things where if you had a dispensary, it would set you apart. Be like, we grow seed to sale. And no one else in Lubbock could say that, you know, because it'd take them a year to figure out their trials and tribulations and all that other stuff. And so getting the name of Caprock out, especially in Lubbock, our town, that way we could have a successful dispensary and potentially, you know, sell our company and to somebody else and start another one.
Absolutely.
Because
I love that.
It's never stop, you know?
I love that. Never stop.
Never stop.
Well, if you're ever in Lubbock, Texas, and you find yourself out that way out northwest towards the Panhandle, right?
It's almost in the Panhandle.
Almost in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in Lubbock, make sure you check out any of the local stores or stop by the place itself, Caprock Family Farms.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for Zach. I'm sure he's a gracious host. He'll hook you up
every time
with a tour and all that good stuff. But if you like this episode, please let us know in the comments. Definitely find something to talk about in there. We need all the help we can get. Please, these platforms do not like cannabis or hemp content. So all the comments, likes, saves, shares, subscriptions, all that stuff goes a long way to push the Puff and Prosper podcast to new audiences. So we appreciate the love. Zach, do you have any other like shout outs or anything you want to give? I mean, you need to throw any credit or anything to anybody?
I'll throw some credit. So my family, they're
right on.
Like mom, dad, Brett.
The Goggers.
The Goggers, yeah. The
Gotta
Goggers.
say it right.
Yeah, exactly. But like I couldn't be here without them holding down the fort, so to speak. And then our social media manager, Maddie Goldstein. She's the reason that we got in touch.
Right on.
So yeah, shout out to her.
Maddie.
Yeah, exactly. And then Luke, he's kind of taken over. Luke's our inventory manager, but he's kind of taken over my position while I'm gone for this week. So thanks for all them, and then all of our employees. Love you guys. So
right on.
Yeah.
Well, Puff and Prosper is going to stay on the forefront of this industry. I'm hoping to bring more young, youthful entrepreneurs that are diving into this industry to you guys on future episodes. Again, we are coming to you loud and proud from Soundshed Studios in Austin, Texas, and we will see you on the next one.
Dude, that was sick.
That's how we do it, man.
I love that. That was so fun.